My dear students, welcome. Those of you who are following me along. This is part 6, and I'm pretty sure some of you have been following along either live or in person. Our recorded versions you've been watching. So today is part 6. So till now, just a quick summary. What I've been doing is I've been sharing my experience and knowledge as a freelancer myself. I have been freelancing since 2012. I haven't held any job or anything like that. So everything that I have gathered, both as a freelancer and a small company owner, I'm sharing in these sessions where mostly I've been focusing on how to be a freelancer for the first time. Now, in the previous episode, what we talked about was how to get your first client and how to impress your client so that they'll keep hiring you and things like that. That is what I spoke about. So hopefully you'll go back and check that video out. Now today I am really talking about what happens next. Okay, now the important thing is, right now I'm in a point where you already set up your Upwork account, you already set up your Fiverr account, you got all the documentations uploaded to these platforms, you're ready to work, you have all the infrastructure that I talked about in the previous session. So now is where you are now beginning to talk to clients. Clients are reaching out to you, either you are reaching out to them or they are reaching out to you. So there are two things that happens here. See, here I'm talking about, one is called bidding for projects. At the same time, I'm also talking about responding to the client hire request. Now, see, there are two ways freelancing works, guys. So first, let me mention about bidding for projects. Okay, now let me quickly change my screen here. Okay, so I'm going to come out of this PowerPoint for a minute. I'll go to my browser. I'll log into the Upwork account. And this is what I mean when I say bidding. So let's say we go here. This is my account. You can see my name, my face, and everything over there. So any job you find, usually what happens is, so you will have a search box here. Dr. Watson, are you able to follow along, sir? Like what I'm
Yes.
doing right now?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Very good, very good. So guys, you'll see that what happens is just like how whenever you want something, like right now I'm in this location which is new to me. So whenever I want to eat food or get myself a rickshaw or something to go from here to there, I'll use my phone and search for what I'm looking for. Similarly, when you're applying for jobs on Upwork, now this is important because different websites follow different formats, but I'm mostly going to focus on Upwork and Fiverr. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So whatever skill you are looking for, whatever type of work you're looking for, you please go ahead and search for it. Normally, AI and all those things, the website will usually have like a feed, how you have on Instagram or on TikTok or YouTube. Depending on your taste, you get recommended specific jobs, specific work. So something similar happens here as well. So the computer, the platform will recommend the kind of jobs which you probably want based on your skills. Like I mostly work as a tutor, a coach, and things like that. So you'll see that most of my things are, like for example, like mathematics, sometimes I teach computer science, again, computer science, tutor, again, there you go, tutor. So I mostly work as a tutor and a consultant. Those are the kind of jobs that I get recommended. So that is how you can find a project. Or usually what I do is when I'm looking for a job, I'll go here and I'll be like coding tutor, right? And then the website will do some searching and other things, and then it will try to find me, jobs which are related to coding tutor. Let me see if that worked. Hold on, let me just search for it again. Okay, there you go. So you'll see that now I'm getting a list of jobs here, which show me like jobs which are related to tutoring. Like for example, somebody is looking for a React tutor. I think it's just coming up, guys. Hold on one second. I'm just waiting for it to load on the screen. Hold on. So that's the search box. You make sure you search coding tutor, and then in a few seconds, it will tell you that, okay, that is the kind of job you're looking for. So now what happens really is you go ahead and try to open a job which you think is that you're trying to apply. So right now on the screen you'll see that there is a job called virtual administrative assistant or something. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so now the search results are online. So there you go. You'll see a list of jobs that you can apply based on what you're looking for. So right now you'll see that there's some job called React Native Tutor. So let me go ahead and just put that on the screen right now. So now what will happen is once you open that, you'll have some expectations, requirements, and things like that that the client is looking for. So this is how Upwork operates, okay? Now, this is what I mean when I say bidding for projects, okay? So Dr. Watson, are you able to follow along? So what I mean by bidding for projects, so just like how you search for something on your phone when you want something, similarly on the freelancing platforms, you go ahead and bid for projects based on what the client is looking for. Now, this is option number one. Now, this is how Upwork usually works. You go ahead, choose a specific project which you think you can do, and then there you'll get some information like who the client is, how much they're offering, what is the budget for this project, whether it is long-term, short-term, hourly rates, and things like that. So this is normally what you do. And this is what I keep telling in every session, like until you become like an established freelancer, something, you'll be doing this every day, like literally every day you get up, you find projects, you apply, find projects, you apply. So this is like a cycle, an endless cycle until you have enough customers or something. Now, this is the bidding part. Now, the one more thing which happens is, let me just get that on the screen as well. So I'm going to bring up Fiverr on the screen. Now, Fiverr works a little bit different, my dear students. So you'll see here on the left side, you'll see like there is an inbox. Okay, so let me try to put this in two windows. So let me just put Fiverr on the left side and let me put Upwork on the right side. So there you go. Okay. Now, in Fiverr, what happens is, Dr. Watson, do you see those chat boxes on the right side of the screen? So let me just get my marker here so that I can use it to explain. So 1 second, Professor. Oh, there's no marker option. Oh, that's unusual. Huh. There would be a marker option. I'm not seeing a marker. Okay. Oh, hold on, guys. Yeah, here we go. So this part here, Dr. Watson, do you see the chat boxes, sir? Here on the right side, where you have some guy called Loreto, Casella, Harry, and all that. You see that, Professor?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on the left side, you'll see that there's a button called Apply Job. Okay. So now what I'm trying to explain here, Professor, is Upwork mainly works on a bidding kind of system. So you find a project that you like, and then you bid for it based on what the client is looking for. Whereas Fiverr is more about where a customer will get in touch with you based on your account details and asks to questions and then decides to hire you. So that's what I mean when I say in my PowerPoint that you are going to be bidding for projects, or you are going to be responding to client hire requests. Does that make sense, Dr. Watson? The different approaches taken by two of the biggest freelancing platforms.
Quite clear. Got it.
Okay. So let me start by talking about bidding for projects. Now, that is the part which will really drive you a little bit crazy. That's also where, like, the the whole workshop thing, the freelancing. I do a lot in India as well. So I'm going to go through some of the normal challenges, first time freelancers face. So let me go back to the PowerPoint and let me make it full screen again. Okay, all right. So the main thing is when you're bidding for projects, usually on Upwork, the client will tell you how much he's willing to pay. Okay. And then in Fiverr, the rates are already on your account. But again, clients might tell you that, hold on, folks. 1 second. So the clients might tell you that, what is the budget they are looking for. So how do you approach the Upwork situation and the Fiverr situation? Now with Upwork, most of the time, the clients will not budge from the rates they have mentioned. So if they have mentioned a rate like $5 per hour, then that is usually the limit, the higher limit that they are willing to pay. I've never seen a client who said $5 and then give me $6. I've never seen a client who said, okay, I'm going to give you $30 and then give me $40 after discussion. I mean, it does happen sometimes, like, maybe for a different project, like you apply for some project which has a lower budget, but then after meeting you, the client might say, you know what, Jay, you seem to be very talented. Let me give you some other project where we have a bigger project. Now that can happen. So my advice to you is when you are bidding for projects in Upwork, only bid if you think you can get that job done in the rate given by the client. Please do not apply under the impression that, okay, the client is like $5 or $30 or $80. Maybe I can ask for 90 after the begins. It is good to be hopeful, but there is a difference between being optimistic and being not smart. so being optimistic is good in life, but at the same time you don't want to waste your time. And I'll tell you one more thing. You keep doing that, you might even get reported by the client. So you don't want that to happen, especially when you are a new freelancer, right? So if the project says $10 per hour, then apply if you're okay with that. If your project says $30, then apply assuming that. And also don't forget, just like in real life, if something is $30 or $40, usually the client is hoping that you are available for something less than that. So $30 means maybe they are willing to talk to you for 20 or 25, because don't forget, just because you're asking for 30 for a $30 project doesn't mean other people are also asking for the same amount. There'll always be freelancers who are willing to work for less money. So if a project is for 30, there may be other freelancers willing to work for 20. So things like that happen. So ultimately, when you're bidding for project, one, please look at the price on Upwork. Somebody was asking, I meant Upwork as in the Upwork website, my dear student. Those who are very new to the workshop, I would really insist you watch the previous recordings, guys. But Upwork is the platform, the Upwork freelancer platform. Okay, that's the thing about bidding for projects. So try to bid when you know the price is okay and it is within what you want to earn. Now, and I think I mentioned this before as well, because you're a new freelancer, there is nothing wrong in bidding a lower price. Okay, maybe you want to start making $30 per hour. Okay, but you don't have much experience. So you could start by bidding a lower price, because in the beginning, yes, money is important, but what is even more important is reviews on your Upwork profile and Fiverr profile, because the reviews are going to attract new customers to your profile. Now, I used to do this a lot in my younger days of my career, where I would bid a project. Sure, I want more money, but when I'm new on a platform, what I really want is reviews and compliments and some work experience to show on my Upwork account. So I would really, sometimes I would even agree to work for really less money, like even $4 or $5 and things, something like that. And in fact, there are a lot of customers who are like maybe not, just like in real life, there are rich customers, there are medium budget customers, there are poor customers, like people who are doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and things like that. They really don't have money. They're not trying to squeeze you by asking for a lower price. There are people who are really struggling to arrange money to hire you for teaching and things like that. Now, those guys, those girls, they'll be really grateful if you give them the service at a lower price. And the best part is these people will be so grateful that they will give you some amazing reviews. So when you're bidding for projects, especially in an early day, try to be lower on the price front, because your priority should be to get hired, get some reviews, and make your profile on Upwork and Fiverr look really, really good. Okay, that's the thing about how Upwork operates in terms of bidding. Professor Olson, was that kind of clear to you, sir? Like what I'm trying to emphasize here, try to bid for a lower price and don't be greedy, not in the early days, please, because focus should be on getting the reviews and so on. Dr. Wolsey, you're about to say something, sir.
Yes, Dr. J. I know this type of question could come up later on from our participants, but I'm a little curious because I occasionally do freelancing as well in the fields that I am sort of mastering. But the question is, quickly, how do you get paid since you are working on a virtual mode? And how can you make sure that your virtual payment, so to speak, is real?
Okay, so you're talking about, well, like what if you do the work, but you're not getting paid on time or something?
Not exactly on time, but how do you make sure that you're gonna get paid? Let's say.
Oh, you get paid itself, not late or early, like the actual
No,
payment.
how do you get paid? Yes.
Oh, okay. Dr. Watson, then let me answer that once I finish the second part of the slide, Professor. So
Okay,
that is
no problem.
something I was, it wasn't in my head because
Okay,
I always get paid, but since you're asking, I will talk about it. So,
wonderful.
yes, sir. So guys, in that case, I'll answer Dr. Watson's question, but let me wrap up the slide here. So the second
Okay.
part is also important, and that applies to both Fiverr and Upwork. Now, what happens, guys, is in Upwork you bid, right? But in Fiverr, it's like you have a shop, and the customer walks into your shop. So Fiverr operates that way. So a customer messages you like, hey, Jay, I'm looking to hire you for coding and I saw your prices. Can you do this? Can you do that? Now, and also on Upwork, once you do the bidding, again, clients will message you responding to your bidding and asking you questions. So the whole question thing happens on both Upwork and Fiverr. And in both cases, there are some common things you can do to make sure you get a positive response. Now, first thing first, my dear students, okay, there will always be some clients who will try to ask you to email them or WhatsApp with you or Insta with you or call you. Don't do that. Okay, whatever happens, do not contact your client outside the websites until you're hired, because you do that and you get caught, your account will be banned. Okay, now again, there are two. Now, why does this happen? Now, those who are really new will understand. See, guys, Upwork and Fiverr, they take a cut. Okay, when you get paid, they have to make some money as well. It's called a platform fee. And don't forget about your government, okay? Governments want their cut too. So they want to take money out of your pocket. So Upwork wants to take money out of your pocket. Government taxes want to take money out of your pocket. And sometimes these numbers can be really big depending on where you live in the world. So what happens is, clients, some freelancers are like, hey, you know what? Why don't you pay me outside Upwork? Why don't you pay me outside Fiverr, so that they don't have to pay these things? But in my opinion, guys, that's not a good idea. Okay. I'm not trying to be idealistic. I'm just trying to be practical because one, there's the risk of getting banned. You don't want to do that because you can make a lot of money on Upwork and Fiverr. The proof is sitting in front of you. I've been making a lot of money from both these websites for many, many years now. So I don't want to get banned. So I follow the rules. Second thing is, again, governments need their taxes. These websites need to make some money as well. So there is some reasons to do that as well. So that's the main thing. So whatever happens, whether it is you telling the customer or the customer telling you, please don't get into such messes. If any customer start telling you things like, hey, you know what, here's my number, here's my email, here is my WhatsApp, don't respond to the client, because even if you respond, you will still get banned and the customer can just create a new account. But you can't, because remember, you gave your documents to the website. So even if you create a new email address, the documents will still be the same. Your tax number will still be the same. Everything is still the same. So you can't just create a new account. So don't get into that business. Okay. Now, coming back. So how do you respond to your customers on both Upwork and Fiverr? Here is what I do. One thing is, okay, no, this can be obvious, but please remember to turn on notifications on your mobile phone. A lot of people don't realize this, but you have to understand, today you have your smartphone and you have some 100 apps, maybe more, and you have some 10,000 notifications coming every 10 minutes. And you know what happens? The notification from Upwork and Fiverr gets lost. So a customer may be messaging you like, hey, you know what? I want to work with you. I want to hire you. But that notification is getting pushed down. And then some Instagram notification or some other nonsense is taking up all the space on your phone. So remember to turn on notifications for what is important to you. And you know what I used to do, guys? I know when I started freelancing, I was very poor, but I had a separate phone just for freelancing. Okay. I don't know how many people can do it, but I don't care. I bought a separate phone. I only had email, Upwork, Fiverr, and LinkedIn on that phone. So anytime a customer messages me, immediately I'll get notified, immediately I'll reply, immediately I'll respond. So very important. Notifications is the difference between getting your client fast and not getting your client at all. Now, why is this so? Now, you see how it works, guys. Because now that I have my own business and all, I also started hiring freelancers in India for my work. So what happens when I post a job? I wait for a reply, right? Like I post a job today, I get up in the morning tomorrow, I look at all the applicants, and then I'll reply and tell them, okay, I'm in my office, talk to me. So I'll reply and I'll wait for maybe 5 minutes before I move on to the next person who has applied. So I have 5 minutes, that's it. So same thing applies to you as well. So when you're working as a freelancer, you get a notification from a customer. You have 5 minutes, 10 minutes max to reply. You miss that window, the client goes to the next person, and then that's it. If that freelancer gets hired, you lost your chance. So it is literally like a game of speed. Now, there are some people who are like, Jay, what should I do if I'm sleeping at that time? There's nothing you can do about it. You have to sleep. I'm only talking about when you're awake and you miss a notification and you don't get hired. So that's the main part: speed, mobile apps, notifications. Next thing, English. Oh my God. I don't know how many times I have to say this to all my freelancers, the first time workers. Please remember, if you don't reply in the proper way and things like that, like, like, again, clients may not like you. And today you have AI and all trying to help you with your English. Okay. So please, there is no excuse for typing bad English, typing one word replies and things like that. So please write nice sentences, like when you respond to a client, like hello, hi, use the client name. Hello, I'm Jay. I can help you with this. Please let me know what time can we connect. Now, the third thing to remember is always tell them that you're ready for a Zoom video call. Clients like it when you can see them. Clients like it. People like it when you can see them. Like right now, I'm looking at Dr. Watson. I'm like, Dr. Watson, sir, can you please give me a hello? and Dr. Watson will give me a hello. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. See, that's what customers want. It doesn't matter where you are in this world. People like to look at each other. People like to talk to each other. So always mention in your message that you're ready for a video call. Okay, don't be shy. I know there are some freelancers like, oh, Jay, I don't want to be in a video call, man. No, no, it doesn't matter. It's over. There's no room for shyness here. Go ahead, show your face, talk to your clients. And sometimes the clients can be shy. It's okay, especially female customers, they may not be comfortable, or children may not be comfortable. And sometimes maybe you're not allowed to speak to children at all online. So there are some rules as well, but that's okay. But you are the freelancer. You should always be ready to show your face and talk to the client on a video call. So don't forget to mention this, that, hey, you know what, I am Jay. Yeah, thank you for showing interest. I'm available for a video call with you whenever you want. So do not forget to say that. Okay. And sometimes, clients may say, hey, you know what, is your price fixed rate, or are you willing to negotiate? Because you're new, just say yes. In fact, whatever the customer says, you say yes. Are you going to work on weekends? Yes. Are you going to give a discount? Yes. Are you going to say jokes in the call? Sure. Why not? Whatever the client wants, is go ahead, agree with the client, but of course, don't agree to everything, agree to what is allowed, and then be nice, and so on and so forth. So speed, respond with speed to their request. Tell them that, write nice English sentences. Tell them that you're available for a video call whenever they want. And finally, be nice. And if they ask for a discount or something, it's okay. Go for it. It's not the end of the world if you give a discount, especially when you are a new freelancer. And keep checking notification, because sometimes you reply, but the client is not online. But then when they come online, again, they'll send you a reply and immediately jump in. And whatever happens, don't share personal details, and don't try to contact the client outside, because you might get banned. So those are the main things about bidding for projects and responding to client requests, which happens on both Upwork and Fiverr. Now, before I go to the next slide, Dr. Walson, so Dr. Watson has a question for me, and the question is how to make sure you get paid as a freelancer. Did I get that right, Dr. Watson? That's the question. Okay, all right. Okay, so guys, one thing I can tell you is, I as I told you, like these days, I mostly work with overseas clients. Like with AIU, is in US, and my other clients are in US again, in Europe and UK and so on. And I work with some Indian customers as well when I was younger. Not now, but yes, sometimes I do that. And I've always been paid. But I know that the world is not that cool. And there are a lot of freelancers who do work and then they haven't gotten paid. I think that's what Dr. Watson is talking about. So what can you do about it? Okay. First thing is, one step, as long as you don't set up a contract outside of Upwork. Okay, so as long as the billing happens through Upwork, as long as the billing happens through Fiverr, you will always get paid. That's the first step. Because the contract is legal, and if there are any problems, then Upwork and Fiverr, they do care about freelancers. They will make sure if there are any problems or something, the customer support will step in. Then they'll try to make sure that you get paid. But please understand this. When you do work, this is very important. Every time you do work, make sure you have proof of the work done. Very, very important. The proof can be chat messages. If you are like, for example, when I'm doing coding sessions, after every session, I send my notes in the chat. After every session, I send all the code that was created by the student. I send assignment documents. So every session, whether it is 10 minutes or 10 hours, there is a detailed notes of everything I have done for the client, totally documented, totally sent through the official channels, that is Upwork chat and Fiverr chat. Now, as long as you have proof of work, I'm telling you, whatever money is there in the contract, they will have to pay. If they don't pay, Upwork support and Fiverr support will make sure that you get paid. Now, another thing you have to understand is, When you send these documents, if you don't trust the client, tell them to reply in the chat. Again, very important. Tell them to reply in the chat that they are happy with the work done. A simple sentence: Jay, files are good. Thank you. That's it. Just a confirmation. If you don't get a confirmation, then don't do the next work. Okay, tell the client. Sometimes clients are like, oh, Jay, I was traveling, man, I forgot. Then you tell them, until you reply, I won't do any more work. You put your foot down. Okay, some clients, if they start playing around with you, like, hey, I'm still traveling, I had a vacation, then you know that client is never going to pay. Okay, and then you immediately stop working with them and raise a request with the support department and tell them that you're having problems with the client. Okay, and you know what? Again, I know Upwork is a big company, Fiverr is a big company. When some things like this happen, the client usually cannot leave a negative review, so it won't affect you. But again, it's all in the proof, how soon you communicate and things like that. So as long as you follow these basic principles, usually you will get paid. Now, what about in real life, not online, you meet a customer. Now, how did I deal with it? I mean, I'm in India, right? I mean, come on, these things happen a lot. So now there again, Dr. Walson, sir, I don't know how many people can actually do this, but Dr. Walson, when I work with customers, say in India or face-to-face, like not on Upwork or something, I tell them they have to pay in advance. Now, I don't know how practical it is for everyone, Dr. Walson, but I am skilled enough that if somebody is hiring me, I know I can deliver. So I'll tell them, I'm sorry, guys, you have to pay in advance because I have a track record of delivering. So I know I'm not going to run away, but I don't know who you are. So you got to pay first. And some clients are like, oh, you're some kind of a big shot, you want payment in advance. And I'm like, I don't know about big shot, but I do want money in advance. So there you go, Dr. Walson. That's another way to make sure you get paid, sir. But next thing, sir, like assuming the client pays on Upwork and Fiverr, I've never had any payment transfer issues from these platforms. So I think that part is zero errors, sir. It's totally automated. So assuming the client has approved the payment, then in my experience, sir, of more than 10 years, I've never had a failed payment. So these are the general things. I don't know if I answered your question, Dr. Walsh. Is there something I missed out or any specific responses you have on that, Professor?
You did, Dr. J. Actually, I must confess to you and to the participants that my question was somewhat irrelevant, completely irrelevant. What happens is I've never personally worked within a platform like Fiverr or Upwork. I do work usually on a quite private or individual basis. I mean, working on one-on-one. So when I do work like that, I just get into risky business because it is very personal. And I do the work all the time I get paid, but the customers or the clients that I've worked for could just say, well, it's a long distance, I'm just gonna ignore that guy. So my question was irrelevant. Indeed, if you do things within the platform, then there is a guarantee that everything's gonna turn out fine. Thank you for your response, Dr. J.
Okay. All right, Professor. Okay, guys. So moving on to the next the topic I wanted to speak, folks. Oh, I'm just going to check the time. Oh, we still have time. Okay, all right. Oh, Professor, there was a time zone change today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just hit me today. Like I was actually online an hour early.
How come?
And then I was thinking like 9 a.m. I was like, where is Dr. Walson? Nobody's there. And then I realized the time zone has changed in US.
Oh,
and so it's actually now very late in India compared to the usual time. So I'm adjusting to that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the next thing, the next part, guys, what I want to talk about is how do you decide your rate as a first-time freelancer? Now, I may have touched upon this in the previous workshop, like in a casual manner, but today I'm going to go a little bit deep into it. So, the problem here is when you're new, two things can happen. One, you feel that you have skills which should be paid really high, so you put yourself at a very high level, or you are new and just to be on the safer side, you give yourself a very, very low rate. Now, both of these things are an issue. Now, if you are asking for too much as a fresher, then nobody is going to hire you. And also, don't forget, the platforms have all these algorithms, search algorithms. So if you're asking for too much compared to other freelancers, then you will not even show up in the, top 20 or 30. So, that is a problem. So nobody will see you. They won't even know you exist. So that's what happens when you're like too high. Now, if you're asking for very less money, now that means for whatever reason you are undervaluing yourself, which is not cool. But the problem is, the problem is that means you might get locked up. Okay, I'll explain what that means. Like some client will look at you and talk to you, and they will realize that you're very talented, and they will kind of convince you to sign a long-term contract, like 6 months or 1 year, for a very low price. Now, the problem is because you're new, you don't realize that is happening. And now you're working for like 6 months or 1 year for a very low price. I mean, you are making money, but then you are slowly realizing that, maybe you should have asked more money, but you can't do that because, you already signed a contract to work for some client for 1 year or something. Dr. Watson, do you see those two columns, sir? Like what happens if you're asking for too much money and what happens if you're asking for too less? So both are not a good idea. So the best thing to do here is, okay, look at other freelancers. Very simple. So if you are a tutor, okay, look at what other tutors are charging for the same service. Okay, so for example, if you are trying to write articles, that's a very simple example. A lot of people do that. In fact, I got my freelancing career started writing articles. That's how I made some money in the beginning of my life because it's easy to get into. I already had good English, so it was easy. So I found out that the articles were like for 2 articles, it was like $1. That's it. That's what people used to pay. So it was like 2 articles is $1. That's what I saw online. Other freelancers were asking for that money. And I was like, okay, so I am new. So what I will do is, okay, I will say 3 articles for $1. So that is how I found out my prices. But of course, I wasn't writing articles forever. But as long as I'm in the article business, till I got some reviews, I stayed in that $1 for 3 articles price range. But I never signed any long-term contract because somewhere in my head, I knew I was talented. So I would only agree to work for 1 month or 2 months. So that's another thing I'm going to tell you guys, if you're going to charge yourself a low money, then don't get into any long-term contracts. Okay. That's never a good idea, especially when you're a new freelancer. Try to go with 1 month, 2 month contracts. And then after that, then tell the client if they want to continue. Obviously, they like you, so ask for more money, okay? So look at other freelancers in whatever you're trying to, like if you're a musician, go online on Upwork and just search for what other musicians are charging. And look, there'll usually be samples of their work, reviews, qualifications, and then try to find out how much they are charging. And then, if they're an experienced person, if they're charging like $30 per hour, you're a fresher, so maybe you want to charge like 50%. So maybe you want to charge $15 per hour or even $10 per hour. So that is how I would say you should go about pricing yourself. And another thing to look at is as you're applying for work every day. I showed you on Upwork how it works. Again, on Fiverr, you'll get a lot of requests from customers. Sometimes what happens, like a client will talk to you, they'll have a Zoom call with you, they'll chat with you, and then the call goes great. The client likes you, they're talking, when a customer likes you when they're talking to you for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. When a client is talking so much, usually it means they like you, they like your skills, and they want to work with you. But then at the end of the call, the client is like, hey, I'm going to let you know about it next week or something. What does it mean? It means the client likes you, they want to hire you. Nobody takes a week to decide something. If somebody likes you, they'll tell you immediately. So, but they're not happy with the price or something, right? So maybe you can tell the client, like, hey, you know what? We've been speaking for half an hour or something, but you're not hiring me. What's the block? Why are you not able to go ahead to the contract signing situation? And they may tell you, like, hey, you know what? You're charging 30. I looked at some experience profiles. They're charging 20, but you're charging 30, but you're new to freelancing. So I was wondering if you can, give me a discount or something. So that is how like your price. That is how like, hey, you know what, 30 is too high for this industry, maybe. So maybe I should start at 20, or the client is saying 15. So maybe you split the difference. So 15, 20, ask the client if they can come down to 17 or 18. So when you talk to people, it's so important to talk to clients, because there are always some nice clients. There are some clients who are like, hey, I have work to do, business, 2 minutes over and call, go. But there are some clients who are like, hey, I want to talk to you, I want to explain to you, and then they'll tell you the rates. So there you go. So you find the rate by looking at other freelancers, but you also find your rate by simply talking to clients and trying to understand what they're looking for. And don't forget, like even when you give a discount to some clients, especially if they are nice, you'll notice that sometimes there are clients who are paying low money, but their work is actually not stressful. Okay, this is something a lot of freelancers don't seem to realize. A lot of times, a client is paying less money, but their work is so simple, you can get the work done faster. Okay, like for example, like a lot of times I'm doing tutoring. Like sometimes I'll get these students who are like master's degree or stuff like that. Now teaching those guys is a challenge because they are expecting a lot. So it is okay for me to charge them a lot of money. They will pay, but they'll also make me work hard, not only during the session, but after the session and before the session. They'll make me ask all these questions. I have to do some homework, I have to prepare, I have to evaluate their assignments. I have to give them assignments, evaluate them, give them challenges, check them. There's so much work which I'm not getting paid, because I'm only getting for the hour I spend with them. So even though they're paying me a lot of money, there's a lot of extra work happening before and after the session. But a lot of times I get hired by a parent, whose child is like in high school or something, or some other guy who's just joined college. So first year computer science, very, very easy. I don't have to do any kind of preparation because everything is in my head. So even if I give a discount there, I'm still making more money because I don't have to spend any time before or after the session. So when you're deciding the rate, you may have $30 in your head, but when you're talking to a customer, if you feel the work is simple, there is nothing wrong in giving a discount, because you're actually making more money because you're spending less time taking care of the work. So keep your rate flexible. Okay, keep your rate flexible. Keep your rate flexible. Go into these calls with a open mind. Keep a range in your head. Okay, so you can keep a range, like say $20 to $60. So be open to anything between 20 to 60. If you feel the client is wealthy, the client is demanding, then sure, ask on the higher range. But if the client is simple, the requirement is simple, it's okay, go ahead. Sometimes even if the client has more money, I'll still give them a discount, because the work is so simple, it doesn't seem like work at all. So you're actually enjoying the work, and you feel like you're making money just for talking or something. So stuff like that happens, guys. So be flexible, with your rate and stuff like that. Dr. Watson, any specific question or something about this specific thing about how to fix the rate, Professor?
No, I got it very clear, Dr. J. Thank you.
Okay, okay. I think I have another. Oh, it's already 9:15. So that was in. There's still more stuff, sir. But let me just wrap up this slide and then move on to questions.
Okay.
Okay. So, guys, this will only take a quick minute or two. Now, this is for me. Again, I don't know how many people can actually do this, but I was doing it when I was young and inexperienced, and obviously I do it today. Now, there is something called as a floor price. Okay, I call it the walkaway price as well. Now, what is this floor price? A floor price is the amount of money, anything less than that, if you agree to work, you're actually losing money. What does that mean? Okay, you're working, but you're losing money. You know, which means, like, let's say you have a client, very nice client, very polite, blah, 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 all that things. And then they hire you, and for whatever reason, you agree to work for, let's say, $20 or something. Just an example. But then you find out that the project is for 1 month, so you're making like maybe $500, but to teach them, you have to buy some license. This has happened to me at least once. You have to buy some license for some software, which obviously they don't want to give you. So you have to buy the license, and then you find out the license is like $300. So you're getting paid $500. Out of that, $300 is the license. I mean, sure, if you get another customer with the same software, maybe it'll help you, but there's no guarantee about it. So they are paying you 500, you have to spend 300, and you're actually making only 200. But then you are giving them like some 20-30 hours of sessions. So you are paying for electricity, you're paying for internet, you're paying for your computer, food. After all those things, you realize, to try to work with a client, you're actually losing money because the client is costing you so much expenses. Now, that is what I call the floor price. So when you are trying to work with a client, you find out that what they're paying you is actually less than what you're spending to work with the client. Please don't work with them. No matter how desperate you are, that is called a negative client. Working for the client, even if you get a great review, you're not making money. You're spending money just to have that client. This happens a lot. And I don't think it's the client fault, guys. Sometimes clients don't know that they are using something which is so old or outdated, and then they are desperate to learn it. Maybe they have a school assignment or something. But the problem is, I always tell this to people, like, you are a freelancer, you have bills to pay, you have stuff to do. So if you're not making a profit, no amount of kindness, like some people are like, hey, Jay, you should be kind. But kindness cannot pay for rent. It cannot pay for food. Your landlord is not going to accept kindness as a currency. So yeah, have a floor price in your head. Okay. Anything below that, just be honest. I don't think that's being rude. You can just be honest and tell the customer, hey man, you know what? That's below the floor price. And anything less than that, I'm going to lose money. And then just walk away. Just walk away. And if it's extreme, then just block the customer.